We're talking about being present, how to be present, and ways of why being present in the moment actually is beneficial to you and those in your world. Talking about that this week on episode 80 of The Relaxed Male.
Hello and welcome to Relaxed Male, podcast that helps men change their relationship with themselves. I am your host, Brian, and I am a men's life and mindset coach who is here to help you understand that you don't have to suffer at your own expense. You can live your dream, and I encourage you to set, then pursue your goals. So join me as I change the mindset and attitudes of men so that they can be the leaders of their families and their destinies.
Hey man, hello and welcome to Relaxed Male. So first off, I want to just say to all the new folks who are jumping in and having a listen, thank you very much for actually taking the time to listen and hear what the Relaxed Male is all about. This is a show where I help men to just get out of their own way, help relax, understand what it means to be a man in today's society and how to do it and maintain your masculinity without, going soft and weak. And so this week we're talking about being present. And this is something that is important for a lot of people to do because this is a skill that a lot of us don't have. So many times we want to be just a couple of moments just ahead of where we are right now instead of having all of our attention and all of our emotions and all of our thoughts on this very moment that we're at. And there's a lot of benefits and ways that you can actually be present. And so that's what we're going to be talking about this week. Now, before we actually jump into the main topic, always have a question of the week. Now, the question of the week, if you are interested in asking a question and having your question answered on the show, you can go to relaxedmale.com/contact and leave a contact. Fill out the contact form. I'll get it right here one day. I don't know why I'm so brain fried today, but we can leave a message in the fill out the contact form, ask a question in there. I'll answer the question on the show. Or if you like, you can also submit your question by email, sending it over to Brian with a Y at relaxedmale.com. And again, I'll go through. When I receive the message, I'll answer it for you and you'll be able to hear the answer on the show. If for whatever reason I don't have a question, then what I normally do is I like to jump over to Quora because there's always questions over on Quora. Some are great, some are not so great. But this one here was found over on Quora, and it says, "Help! How do I stop feeling hurt when people say mean things about me?" All right. Well, I know this goes for both sexes, but for men. How do you stop feeling hurt when people say? Because people do. People can say mean things about you, and it can hurt your feelings. Yeah, believe it or not. Well, I know a lot of guys want to stand there and, put their hands on their hip and go, I don't give a shit what people, they don't care what people want. They claim that they don't care what people think. And there's a chance they don't care what people think. But there's a lot of them who, they care what people think. Because if they didn't care how people thought, they wouldn't behave the certain way that they do. So how do you stop feeling hurt? Well, it's just kind of one of those things. It depends on who it is. If somebody who is close to you, like a parent or a brother or a best friend who says something mean to you and they hurt your feelings, in all reality, they're not actually hurting your feelings. They're saying something that in your mind you're agreeing with. And that is causing your feelings to be hurt. So you're actually agreeing with whatever it is they're saying. So is what they're saying true? Yes, no. If it's hurting your feelings, there's a good chance that there's a little grain of truth in there. Maybe that grain of truth is just, you're not quite as in integrity with who you are and who you need to be as you think you are. It could also just be that, you think the same thing they do, though you're putting up airs that you're not. Say you want to be this, big, tough, men going their own way type of guy. And they just, someone calls you a name and, you're like, well, screw you. And you leave. Well, you're carrying what they say. Either when you are like, the men, MGTOW type of person, it's, you're going your own way because you can't stand what other people are thinking about you. You're playing the ultimate victim. You're going, well, fine, I'm going to take my toys and just go home and hope that someone comes along and actually rescues you and tells you, no, you're a good guy. We like you and we want to have you here. So you actually do care. MGTOW and red pill people are probably the bigger ones who actually do care what everybody thinks, though they are trying to put up this really flimsy, shield about them, saying that, I really don't care what people think. If you don't care what people think, it won't bother you. If you want to have people stop hurting your feelings, you can understand where they're coming from on their comments, because I severely doubt, first off, people don't intentionally go off to hurt your feelings. They don't wake up that morning going, you know what? I think I'm going to hurt John's feelings today because that just sounds like a lot of fun. Nobody wakes up doing that. And if they are, then why are they in your inner circle? If they say, man, I'd like to see how many different ways I can just make you as, uncomfortable as possible. Okay. Well, in all reality, if someone says they want to see how many ways they can make you uncomfortable, there's probably someone you actually want to have in your close to you so that you can, work on that discomfort. But if it's just someone who's just saying, snide things, putting you down all the time, just not showing you any type of respect, there's a couple things you can actually do. First off, understand that you're not where those emotions are coming from. They're coming from you. Your hurt feelings are coming from you. They're not doing anything to make you feel bad. To give up that responsibility is all on you. To go off and tell somebody who doesn't even know how to make themselves happy that they are required to make you happy, and the fact that they just like pushing the, hey, I'm going to hurt your feelings button all the time. I mean, I would be taking that controller back really quick. All right. So understand where they're coming from. Well, are they just saying it because, they're just, poking fun at you? They're ribbing you. Okay. If they're doing it like that, all right, grow a little thicker skin, dude. It's not, that's how men talk. We rib each other. We give each other a hard time. We talk and put down. Every society does that. Every culture does that. A bunch of hardworking cowboys will sit down and they'll give somebody who fell off their horse a hard time. You give a bunch of rancheros over in Mexico, they hit their guys fall off of a horse. Guess what they're doing? They're doing the exact same thing. You go over into Mongolia and someone falls off a horse. Their friends are going to give them a hard time about falling. Everybody does the same thing. Men give each other hard times. It's a gentle ribbing to just let them know that they are accepted in the group, and to test to see, can you stand it? Can you hold your ground against the rest? It's just a simple, easy ribbing. If you get bent out of shape because someone's giving you easy ribbing, you're not going to fit in with the group. So first, grow some thicker skin. If it's just gentle ribbing, it's just, giving you a hard time. That's part of society, man. Be okay with it. Deal with it. Build a bridge. Get over it. However you want to look at it. Second of all, there is an old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones and words will never hurt me. Some people have decided that words have power, and they don't. Don't believe me? Go up to your wife and take a stick, hold it in your hand, wave at her and go, naked. Does her clothes fall off? No. As a matter of fact, she probably looks at you and looked at you like, yeah, right, whatever. Words don't have power. You can sit there and go through and say every single spell there is in a Harry Potter book, and nothing's going to happen. Why? Well, one, it's a book of fiction. Two, all those words they use for spells are just Latin meanings of that action. So, to reparo is to fix glasses. All right. To illuminate is to illuminate. It's Forgeticus is Forgeticus. Actually, it's called obliviate, which is, again, you can understand what that word is supposed to be, where obliviate is the Latin word to forget. So you've got these words are just words. When it comes to what those words mean, That's dependent upon you. You can choose to make someone say, dude, you are just as weak as a baby. All right. Well, are you? If there's a hint of truth in it, then change why that word means so much to you. They're saying something that hurts your feelings. Change that meaning of that word. That is completely all within your power. You have the power to stop having your feelings hurt. You can choose not to have your feelings hurt. You can choose to just ignore what they say. You can, all right, whatever, dude, and carry on. If there's somebody who is trying to quote unquote bully you, guess what? If it's not affecting you, bullies are not going to have any fun. If you can take the power away from the bully thinking that he can get to you because he's saying something mean and cruel, and you can throw it right back at him and go, yeah, you know what? You're right. I am kind of a dumbass. You can throw it right back at him. You take the fun, you take the power away from them when you own whatever it is that they're trying to stick to you. Again, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words ain't going to do anything, man. They're just words. It's a vibration and shape that is shaped by a vibration created by your vocal cords that is shaped by the shape of your mouth and the position of your tongue. That is it. That's all a word is. It is just a vibration. When you come to understand that and you see that words have no power, gain all the power in the world. So with that, let's jump on over to the main topic. Now, the main topic is the art of being present. Now, this is something I'm working on, I'm trying to start being more present with talking with the wife, with other people. And wow, this is a really big challenge because a lot of times when we're talking and we're listening to something and say like a podcast, that's a good way to see if how well you're able to stay present is when you're listening to a podcast. Do you listen and hang on every word that they say? Or are you getting in there and you're listening, and mind wanders off. You start thinking about your cousin Nick, the trip you've got coming up next month and this and that and these and those. Are you thinking around there? Or are you actually thinking of responses? Say you're talking to somebody on Facebook and they're politically opposite of what you are and they're making they've thrown up some comeback. Or you're talking to them in person. It's even better if you're talking to them in person because Facebook is not really the best example. But you're talking to somebody who is a politically opposite and y'all are in kind of a discussion. Are you sitting there listening to what they're actually saying, or are you actually forming what your retort is? Maybe they said something at the very beginning and you're just like, I've got them with that. And you're not even paying attention to what the rest of it is, what they're saying. You're right there. You missed the actual key word and the key sentence and the key feeling, 3 minutes after they started talking. Being present is one of those things that is magical when it happens. It's almost an out of body experience. You can almost be outside of yourself. And you hear everything that they're saying. You almost get to feel what their emotions are. You can't, but you start to understand what it is they're saying. When you're present, you're really starting to connect. It's almost like a flow in conversation. If you know what flow is, it's very similar to that. So the problem is, though, so many times we are sitting around, we're having conversations, we're talking on the phone, we're sitting with our family around the dinner table, and we've either got our phones in our hands and we're scrolling through there. We're not even paying attention to what everybody else is doing, or we're thinking of something else that's going on. We're not paying attention to what's going on in that very moment. And that's why being present, what being present means, actually focus in on what the one person talking about is talking about. And to understand what it is that they're truly trying to say. And it's more than just the, making all the weird noises. I think, what is it? Japan, hey, that's their way of going, right. They're, hey. They do the same thing. If you're not paying attention, you're just giving the voice noises of, hey, I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention. Right. We used to make fun of it on phones. You'd hear your mom on the phone and she would, you're right. Yeah. Right. And then they'd hang up. So what they want? Oh, they were wanting chicken noodle soup recipe. Didn't give it, but it was just a whole right. Yeah. So being present is such a challenge though. So and it can be such a gift if you actually are able to execute it in a good way. Now, how do you actually, how does being present actually help? Well, one, it puts you with that person. It allows you to have a better communication, better connection with that person when it comes to actual communicating. You actually kind of, like I said, you understand what they're talking about a lot more. You're not busy worrying about what you're going to say. You're just there absorbing what words they're saying, trying to come to an understanding of what they're saying, what they're meaning, what they're feeling. So it betters your communication skills. It betters your social skills because you're able to communicate better. And you're not worried so much about what the implications of using or the wrong implications are because you're coming to a better understanding of what that person is actually saying. You're able to hear what they're saying. You're replying to what they're saying that is actually appropriate to what they're asking. And most of the time, you're not doing much of the talking. That's the really weird part. When you're present, you're communicating with them, but the person that you're communicating with probably is doing a lot more talking than what you are. You're just there to listen, to hear. It's almost like holding space. To be present with somebody, you're just holding space so they can be able to say what they need to say without having, to come up with rebuttal or anything like that. So how do you become present? Well, it takes a good bit of work, in all honesty. You really have to pay attention. That's where mindfulness comes into play. If you can actually work on being mindful and practice mindful meditation on a very daily, regular basis, that helps out tremendously because you're able to the more you do your mindfulness, mindful meditations and things like that, and you practice mindfulness, you actually know when your brain is taking off to go to check parts unknown because it is wanting to be stimulated in other ways. So when you're sitting there and you're doing your 15 minutes and you're focusing on your breathing and you're just focusing in on the air coming in through your nose and you let it out, it goes out and goes in and goes out. And sadly, eventually you're in, out. I need to buy groceries. Out. Hamburger meat. Out. Taco shells. Out. I need some lettuce, tomatoes. Let's see. What else do we need? Oh yeah. Well, I got to take the car over there, which means I need to get the oil changed. I've got to go talk to the city so I can get my gas turned off because I got pipe fixed. Oh, pipes I've got to work on, and eventually you're working yourself down and you got 30,000 and you're 100 miles away from what you were starting, which is breathing in, breathing out, focusing in on the air coming in your nose and going out your mouth. You sit there and will go down these rabbit trails if you don't pay attention. So if you're breathing in, breathing out, I need to get hamburger meat. Oh, no, we're not worried about hamburger meat. Breathing in. And you notice the moment your mind starts running off. And it may be ran off for like 4 minutes before you actually realize, oh, shoot, I'm not even paying attention to my breathing. Let's get back over to breathing and breathe. And you may start thinking of developing a thought. Oh, no, let's focus. And so many people go, I can't stop my brain from working. No, duh. That is your brain doing its job. Mindfulness is not thinking. There's enough not double, triple, quadruple negatives in there. It is not about not thinking. It is about controlling controlling your thoughts. It's not that you're turning your thoughts off, because as they come up, you're just, okay, I'm thinking a thought, back to the breathing. And as you breathe in, breathe out, and your mind starts to wonder, oh, I need to go back to my breathing. You're not turning your thoughts off. Yeah, when you first start, it is a pain in the butt, because it is almost like breathe in, breathe out. Mushrooms, need to buy mushrooms. Oh, no, let's get back. All right, breathe in, breathe out. Hamburger meat. Yeah, let's have tacos tonight. No, back. Breathe in, breathe out. I wonder what the dog's doing. No, I need to get, yeah. And you're constantly thinking 103 different thoughts all at the same time. And it can get maddening, especially when you first start. And that's where a lot of people get mad and they quit, because they're like going, I can't stop my brain from. Well, that's the point. You're not supposed to sit there and be mindless. You're supposed to sit there and pay attention to when you think a thought. And as you think a thought, you just set it off to the side and you go back to your breathing. As you think a thought, to the side, back to the breathing. And as you do that, you start to understand when you're thinking a thought and when you're straying. And the more you practice that, the more you can, as you are talking to people, will start to notice, hey, my mind is wandering. Bring it back to the conversation. 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 Don't worry about your witty retort. Bring it back to the conversation. And as you do that, you will start having better discussions, better communications with people. And you actually become more present when you're talking to people, and people will turn around and start finding you to be a lot more pleasant person to hang with, because by God, I can just talk about anything with you and you are just right there with me. So as you practice and do your present, work on being present, like I said, don't worry about what it is you're going to reply with. Don't worry about what witty saying or phrase or sage advice that you've got. Just focus in on what the person's talking. Just listen to what they're saying and focus in on how they're saying it. You can give those verbal cues like, okay, yeah, and let them know, but don't just use that on autopilot. Just, okay, I got you. Right. And ask questions that bring it, keep it going into that circle and building those questions. That's where I'm struggling right now, is asking the questions that pile on to the other questions so that it really becomes a very cohesive ball of information and communication. So with that, man, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let you go. This is a little bit shorter than some of the others, which is awesome. Yeah. But if you have any questions, comments, anything like that, you can go to relaxedmail.com/contact and be able to leave a question there. If you like what you're hearing here, a couple things I would love for you to do. First off, take this show, this particular episode, and share it out onto Facebook, onto Twitter, share it onto Instagram, share it around, share it to all your followers, friends, family, and the like. Those people you think would really benefit from hearing the information about this particular show, to this particular episode. Doing so helps our show grow. It helps to get to more men, so that we can actually start to build a cohesive community that will help, where men can actually come to each other and seek help and understanding and encouragement to go out amongst their day and to live their life on their terms and with intentional actions. And to do that, you can also subscribe to the show, and that way you get your podcast, this podcast delivered to your phone every single day. We're available over on Apple, iTunes. We're over on Google Podcasts. Or Apple Podcasts, not iTunes. iTunes pretty much doesn't exist anymore. So anyhow, we're over on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're available over on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Deezer, TuneIn, also Pocket Casts and Overcast and Castro and Castbox and Player FM and Swoot and Radio Public, Breaker, Podbean, Good Pods, Bullhorn, Ghana, which is great because, man, there are a lot of people over in India that are really digging the show. Hypercaster, Amazon Music, Audible, Podfriend, Podtail, Podcast Guru, Aural, Playapod, Podverse, Get Podcast, and Verbal, and so many more. Where pretty much have got all of the different channels covered. And if you're interested in if you come across one that you can't find me on, let me know. I'll make sure I get myself added to that particular directory. So, guys, with that, we're going ahead and I will let you go. Guys, thank y'all so much for listening, and we will see you next Thursday. And until then, bye.